Greetings and hello from Germany, from Anenja Vihara, Ayya Phalanyani. Jayanta, thank you for asking. Okay, it's coming along. Still extremely tired and not well concentrated, so meditation is affected, and I'm sleeping my days away and nights also, but it gets better. I'm confident that it's at some point over, and I will be okay again. So yeah, but it's not too bad. It's just the tiredness and the dullness and the what I heard it's called the brain fog that still remains. But I'm having a lot of supplements and vitamins and things like that. So at some point, I should be there in all strength again. So today is Asalha Puja, and we're going to talk about it also during our hour. I'm happy for you to be here, and although quite some people are here already, I would think that we just for a few minutes close our eyes. And before I start to talk about the topic, we take some deep breaths in and out, and we relax or wake up. For some, it's in the morning and time to wake up. For others, it's time to wake up from their afternoon nap. Some might be ready to go to bed soon. So, wherever you are and however you are, just breathe in deep and long. And breathe out deep but soft. Don't push it out. Just very softly and gently. And in again. And out again. Very softly. And relax your bellies. And the entire upper body, so that nothing has to work much, rather than those muscles and sinews and things that are needed to keep your body upright. Apart from these, everything else is just relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed. Shoulders in the front. Check your chest. open it. Open it up. And your chin, the lower jaw. There's often so much tension because we hold back so many things. So relax the jaws and the chin, not in order to let out all the anger that we hold there, but to relax from that anger, to relax from everything that we keep holding back there. And just while we continue, or while I continue with open eyes to talk to you, just stay with a soft breath, because that's what you're giving back to the world. So if it's hard breaths full of pushing and pressing, that's what you give to the world. So try to make it soft. That will in turn soften your heart a little bit. So I said today is Asalha Puja, and maybe you have heard what that is. Maybe you know already, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. So Asalha Puja is, I think, although it's Pali, I'm coming from a Thai tradition. So in this Thai tradition, we're entering the rainy season. And in some of the Thai traditions, this day, Asalha Puja, is called Dhamma Day. The Visakha Puja would be called the Buddha Day. And Asalha Puja is the Dhamma Day. And Asalha, same as Visakha or Vesak, is just the name of the month. So in the month of July, on the full moon day, we celebrate the Dhamma. It is said that the Buddha set the wheel of the Dhamma in motion for the first time, and that he spoke to his 5 ascetic friends and taught him the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. That is why it is called the Dhamma Day. So the Buddha taught the Dhammachakkappavatana Sutta to 5 people whom he thought could possibly understand what he had experienced after his enlightenment, or better said, during his enlightenment. And he had thought after his enlightenment he wouldn't teach it because there wouldn't be people who would understand. And then it is said that there was that God called Sahampati, who came to the Buddha and said, no, you got to teach it. You need to teach the Dhamma. You need to teach what you experienced and what you know to other people. There will be people with little dust in their eyes, and they will understand, and they can know what you know almost. So go ahead and teach it. And it is said, if it were not for him, for Brahma Sahampati, the Buddha wouldn't have gone out to teach it. So that he finally went in search of those people with little dust in their eyes, we owe to Brahma Sahampati and his intervention, that he said, you got to do it. And I think there shouldn't be an end to our gratefulness to the Buddha, that he really gave the world, that he thought of, really, there will be people that he trusted in humankind, and that he went out of his way and teach the Dhamma for 45 years. So first, the Buddha wanted to go to his former teachers, but they were dead already. So he thought, whom could I possibly tell about this? And he remembered his former friends, the ascetics with whom he had practiced the austere practices. And he went there, he found out where they were and went there to talk to them. And he, of course, didn't know whether they would agree for him to come back. And when they saw him coming from afar, they were kind of taken aback and said, well, look, there he is, our friend who had gone to the luxury life. And the closer the Buddha came to those ascetics, the more they got excited. And in the beginning, they said, when they saw him coming, they said, well, we don't care much for him. He can have a seat, but we won't do anything in reverence for him. So the closer he came, and the more excited they got. They then started running towards him, taking his bowl. One got water to wash his feet, one got the seed ready. So they understood kind of instinctively that there was something different about the Buddha, but they didn't know what, and they didn't trust their feeling. You know, they thought, no, it can't be that something is different. He had gone to a luxurious life, so how can he now be different? But something drew them to revere him and to act towards him as if there was something special about him. So, but when he started and said, I have found it, guys, let me teach you so that you also can find. What I found, they didn't believe. They didn't trust him that much. So for the second and the third time, they said no when he repeated that they could partake in his knowledge. They denied, they wouldn't. But then he asked them, have you ever heard me talking about my knowledge and claiming some knowledge? So now it is different. Really, trust me. I'm talking about the Buddha, of course. So they agreed then to listen to him. And then the Buddha gave him the Dhammatalk Sutta. Ja. Bitte nimm du das an. There's somebody who wanted to make an offering to the Sangha, but it seems I'm occupied, so somebody else got to do it. So Buddha started teaching the Dhammatalk Sutta. And in the announcement, when I wrote about the topic of today, I wrote questions like, what is it about? And why do we enter the Rains Retreat? And is there something that lay people can do, or that non-ordained, not ordained people can also practice? So in reverence to this day, we enter the Rains Retreat, it is called in English, or the vasa, which would be the Pali name. And on that day, well, actually, we do enter tomorrow. We enter into a period of 3 months where we do not leave the monastery, except in a case of emergency, or in a case where we need to go out and teach or to ordain somebody, or in a case when our parents, for example, need us. That would be the exceptions. But otherwise, we would stay in the monastery for 3 months. This year, it would be until the 10th of October. And we dedicate ourselves more than ever, not more than the years before, and more than in the rest of the year. We dedicate ourselves to the meditation practice. We do not go about and around. We stay where we are and really try to dedicate our existence entirely to the Dhamma. And it is, of course, important that monastics do that. because you can get quite busy in a monastic life, and you can go here and go there and do this and do that. So it is important to have a set time for monastics where they shouldn't go out, where they should dedicate themselves to the practice. Here in the West, it is actually more in winter that we can dedicate ourselves more to practice. What we do try to do it also during this period of time, although this in Germany, for example, is the time of vacation. And during the summer vacation, more people come, but then they can practice with us. So we now have a lot of people in the monastery coming and celebrating with us and practicing with us. Today, we even have a little ordination ceremony for a layman. He is not becoming a nun, of course, he is not, but he will stay in practice with the 8th precept with us for the 3 months. So he will have his little ceremony and shave his head and don the robes. So, right, Sophia, your questions I'm about to answer. There is also the reasoning in Asia that the time of the vasa would be the time where the heavy rains are falling and the crops are growing, so that when the monks would go wandering, which they commonly did, when they were not in their rains retreat, they would wander around a lot. So it is said that also for this reason, there was the idea of keeping the monks in their places to not ruin the crops for the lay people. But also, we have to think that this is a time when the Buddha started teaching and got his first monks settled in the Dhamma. So, one, after hearing the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, had a sudden insight and understood quite a bit of what the Buddha said. But for the others, because it were 5, and they needed more teachings. So it is said that one of them or 2 of them stayed with the Buddha, whereas the others went on alms round to gather the food for all of them. And then they changed, and the Buddha practiced with those who went on alms round previously and then taught. Well, they exchanged the teams. And so this was not all. They weren't arahants all in one day. And so there are certainly several reasons why we do practice this period for 3 months. So now to the question that Sophia put in the chat. Would it be a good idea to participate in the vasa as a lay discipline? Sure it would, if you can. Sometimes this is the time of vacation. So, and you got to work, and your vacation is only, what do I know? In countries, it's very different. I think here in Germany, the minimum is 21 days. But when I think of other countries, it's maybe only a few days that you can go on vacation, and you maybe have a family that want to be entertained, and you need to have a program and want to visit things. So then it might be difficult, but still there is something that you can do. You can, for example, go and read the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta again, and we can talk about it a little bit to understand the points that are important for us or for your practice at home, because everything that is written there, that is said there by the Buddha, can of course be practiced by lay people or by not ordained people. And even though it might be difficult for you to spend in the monastery for 3 months, that is not necessary. If you have a week, if you have some days to go to the monastery, that's perfect. Then do that. There are monasteries all over the world now, so you can go. But if you can't, if you practice at home, there is so much you can do. You can, for example, start with a study of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. And I got it here with me, and I'm not reading it out, but the first thing that you can understand and that you can learn about more is what are the two extremes the Buddha talked about to his ascetic friends. There is on one side the sense pleasures that we are following after, and on the other hand, there are the ascetic practices. And the Buddha had practiced a very, very harsh and strong ascetic practice. He said, he declared that what he practiced surely was the utmost of what is possible. And in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he explains to his companions of that period that this ain't good. That is not good. These austere, heavy, strong, ascetic practices are harming, are not leading to enlightenment, are not leading to freedom from suffering. And even for those who are practicing those austerity practices, this was the goal. Nibbana is the goal, or the liberation from suffering, the freedom from suffering. So the Buddha said, this is only done by the middle way. So when you are at home and you are going for a sense pleasure, you can check, do I need this really? Do I need another ice cream? Do I need to watch that movie? Do I need to, what do I know, what kind of sense pleasures you have? And you can ask yourself, do I need these? On the one hand. On the other hand, you can ask yourself, Am I too strict? Am I forcing myself to do things? Am I pushing myself through things that I'm not able to go without force? Because force is not the middle way. Force would be not maybe the extreme as the Buddha did it, but towards that direction. So not the right thing to do. So a disciplined middle way is a different thing. There's nothing against discipline, you know, but that discipline, when that comes with a force, with too much, how do you say that? Yeah, when we're forceful towards us, without understanding, it harms. Or when you force other people, you know, when you want to meditate, which is good, but you sit there and somebody is making a noise and you get angry, that would be going into the wrong direction. If you scold them and say, be silent, I want to meditate, things like that, that is going into the wrong direction. Then you don't have the middle way where you just sit and accept with an inner discipline and with an inner calmness what comes towards you, even disturbances, and let them be. And if you go against outer sources or your children that are wanting to play with you when you meditate, then you use force, which is not good. So you can check your life during this period more than in other period. Where am I between the sense pleasures and forceful, harmful austerity practices or harsh practices that harm myself or other people? And then you might find ways to include noises, to include your children by just pulling them towards you and say, just come and be silent with me. Hear my breath. I will listen to your breath, for example. And not going to that ideas of what you cook, for example, for dinner during that time of meditation. So, yes, that would be something that you can go for, to see where am I on the scale? Am I in the center? Am I on the middle way? So the next thing the Buddha was mentioning is the Eightfold Noble Path. And that, of course, you can always check. You can always check your your view. You can always check your thoughts. And that you can do in meditation or within daily activities, you can check, am I moving on the Eightfold Noble Path? Is what I'm thinking wholesome? Is what I'm saying wholesome? Is my action wholesome? My livelihood, is that wholesome? Is the effort that I'm putting in right? Am I practicing meditation? Am I practicing samasati and samasamadhi? You can ask yourself that. And check when you remember it. And there you need sati to remember, to ask yourself, am I moving on the Eightfold Noble Path? Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And I think right effort here, I want to mention, is not more, and more effort, but the right effort is fourfold. That would be you. Once you start to see whether what you do is wholesome or not, you can make out by samasati and samasamadhi your unwholesome mind states. Once you have made them out, you can start with right effort by not letting it happen. You need a lot of awareness for that and a lot of concentration to, in the right moment, pull out and not follow after the unwholesome, evil thoughts, for example. And then once you got that, you try to not let more unwholesome, evil thoughts arise. Once that works for you, you can try to put in wholesomeness into your daily activities. And once you get that, you make sure that you cultivate you cultivate those wholesome states and never let them slip away again. That would be what is meant by right effort here. Sama vayamo in Pali, right effort in English. So that is a practice you can dedicate your life to. And by checking every little thing, is that unwholesome or is that wholesome? Can I do? Can I not? You need to deploy, you need to apply a lot of concentration and a lot of sati, awareness. So you are already practicing then parts of the middle way of the Eightfold Noble Path. And when you practice that, you will surely develop more and more right thinking and right intentions And that, of course, will have an effect on your thought and speech and livelihood and everything. And that in turn will have then an effect on your practice of meditation and wholesomeness and unwholesomeness. So this also is something that you can practice as a lay person, of course. Before I continue, there was a question from Upasika Metika. So yes, of course, you may come and stay with us. You need to write an email and see if we have room, because as of today, I think we don't have any, but I don't know for how long. So we're quite booked presently, because the restrictions are not that strong in Germany anymore, and our COVID here is overcome, so we're not contagious anymore. So yes, some of us do speak English, so you can come even though you can't speak German. And if for the Spanish speakers also, my Spanish is not that good anymore, but I think talking in Spanish or English or German wouldn't be any problem. So yes, if somebody wants to come, of course, come. But back now to to what you people can do during the time of these 3 months, from tomorrow until what did I say? 10th of October. So you practice the Eightfold Noble Path. And when you understand, says the Buddha, the middle way, it produces vision, it produces knowledge, it leads to calm, to penetration, to enlightenment, to nibbana. And if it only leads to calm, that is good enough, right? Might not be possible to straight away in this vasa come to enlightenment, to nibbana, but everything that we practice in that direction is already good. So to stay, to practice only these two things that I said, to check, am I on the middle path? Am I not falling towards one of the extremes? Am I practicing on the Eightfold Noble Path? That already can lead you to enlightenment. So then, next thing, he starts to talk about the Four Noble Truths. Right understanding or right view would be to thoroughly understand the Four Noble Truths. And the first is there is suffering. And I sure mentioned it in some talk already, but I will say it again. When I was young and new to the Buddha's teaching, and I read the suttas, I came across, of course, the Four Noble Truths. And in German, it was translated into all is suffering. I said, well, no, This is not possible. I was a young person, I didn't want to hear anything about it. I wanted things to be nice and happy, and I wanted to enjoy them. So the message, there is suffering, was bad enough, but to translate it, all is suffering, was, yeah, I thought, well, if that is what the Buddha taught, then, well, he was a little bit negative, no? So, um, but when you practice many, many years and try to be aware every single moment, then at some point it might occur to you that not all is suffering, but in everything is the seed of suffering inherent. So it is already there. Why do we take pictures on a party or when it's nicest? Because we know deep in our hearts this moment is not going to last, and we want to keep it. So we make photographs to keep it, to hold it. So when you look at these moments, when you are out there taking photographs, enjoying while you are enjoying, you could, if you really, really are observant and practicing every single moment of your life, you will see, oh, although I do enjoy this, and this is really nice, there is the option, the possibility for suffering, because this moment is fleeting, is changeable, is subject to change. And then, because it's so nice, I will suffer. Because there is no way that I could change it. That is, it's anicca, dukkha, anatta. That is why the first noble truth is so true. There is suffering. So the second noble truth says we do suffer because of tanha. And tanha is that thirst for lust, thirst for sense pleasures. Thirst even for unwholesome mind states or for unwholesome things. We crave sometimes to be angry, to do unwholesome things. We want sometimes to do them. That is tanha, that we hold so much to them, and that we need to yell at somebody sometimes, for example, or smash some doors or plates or harm somebody, knowing that we harm somebody. Even that is tanha, not only the nice sense pleasures. So the third noble truth is the best thing that can occur in this world full of possible suffering. That is, there's a way out. What is that way? That is the fourth noble truth. That is the Eightfold Noble Path, which we just talked about briefly. We didn't go much in detail, but I think for your practice now, that could already suffice, no? So we have these Four Noble Truths, and those truths we shall see them. We shall look them through, develop them, and cultivate them. There's an interesting question that I'm jumping to. Also, if you have more questions about the practice that you can do during this time of the 3 months vasa of the rains retreat, then go ahead and put them in the chat box. But please take note that only a few minutes are left. I need to leave a few minutes early today because I'm having another appointment. So, dear Ayya, what were the paramis of several monks like Kondanya and Sariputta that made them so ready for enlightenment? Well, the Buddha had practiced for eons and eons, for many, many lifetimes, 10 paramis. And to talk about them would be another Wednesday talk. And we might even do that sometime soon. But it always starts, when the Buddha talks about it, it always starts with Dana Parami and Sila Parami. And then comes Nekama Parami. So these three, to have a big open heart that can give, to be able to practice according to the sila, to the regulations with the 5 precepts. Basically, to make yourself harmless and not to harm anybody, not even yourself. That would already be keeping the sila. Then to be able to let go of things. That are the 3 first paramis that are important to practice. Here, Sud is mentioning metta. It's also one of the paramis that can lead you to enlightenment and ceto vimutti. So the liberation of the heart. There are other things like satya, truthfulness. Wisdom is also there. Patience, kanti. And last but not least, the last in the row also, upekkha, equanimity. And it is not said somewhere which of those Kondanya or Sariputta have mainly developed. But to become a Buddha, you need to have developed all the 10 to the fullest, to Paramatta. And the others, including us, we're on the way to practice all of them. So the more we can renunciate, the more we can give, the more we can train to be a good person, not to harm, the more wisdom we develop, the more we can practice patience and loving kindness and equanimity, all these things, the easier it will be for us or for a being somewhere to come to find freedom from suffering. And whether we're Mahayana or Theravada or what kind of ever Buddhist, we need to develop those paramis. And do what the Buddha did, like become better people. And I do not think it is important to have them all to the utmost, developed to the utmost, but to a quite high degree, and some to the utmost possible, to the paramattha state, to the more loving kindness wouldn't be possible, more patience wouldn't be possible. So that would be some practice that we can do, regardless of what Kondanya or Sariputta have developed then at their time. I received notice that it is time. Need to go and start the other meeting. So I'll wish you well. Oh, Buddha Ruchi. Yes, well. Greetings to you all. See you next week. And I hope my mind will even be a little clearer than it is now. All the best to you. Bye-bye. It's coming along soon, taking its time.